One more time. Namaste and welcome. We're moving into a whole new way of communicating. So much love. Yeah, when you start moving beyond words into the realm of just infinite happiness that needs no words, just to be what it is, that's happiness. When it's just a play, you see that it's just a play, and it can be very joyful, this infinite love playing seemingly in diversity. So one of the plays we had today, I'm going to share it with you so you can enjoy it as much as we didn't enjoy it at first until we really saw the Holy Spirit's perfect. So when we moved into this place, there were a few keys. I'm not sure this is all of them. I think we have more. It looks something like this. I can't even have enough hands to hold all the keys. Okay, for those of you joining us, this we're just sharing with you the keys. So Renee's Seva project was, first of all, put all the tags, first of all, to figure out if we had the right keys. We have some keys we don't know what they're for. And so then we have to keep the keys in various locations. There's more hanging on the wall, just in case. And see, we keep them in a box like this. Now, why that's really very good. Oh, yeah, these two. Now, what was so great? So you can imagine. So Christy, of course, the Seva. I don't know why Jesus assigns things. You know, we're all here to serve God, and we just heard. Okay, Christy's going to take on. That's called the security team, which is hilarious. Anyway. So she gets a box full of this and looks down at that. And Christy, if I miss anything. And as soon as she came in, it's like, you can imagine just looking, what am I going to do with this? A box full of this. Until like we saw, what did you say when you came in? It was like, oh, feeling trapped. Anybody who would look at a box like this and go, I'm the keeper of the keys for the building. Until we saw the metaphor Jesus using that, how beautiful. Who wants to go digging through a box? This is consciousness. who look. And isn't it really a good idea to have the one who knows come and show us the one key that's going to work? Like the one who's going to show the key that's going to work, to feel like we lost the key. That's what the whole function in consciousness is, to pretend like we've lost the keys, or that, there's so many doors to go through. It's like Neo in the Matrix, and there are these doors. He can choose between two doors because we want the desire to choose different doors and open up the little door and have a little experience behind that door and then complain about it. No, I don't want that experience. I want a different experience. So we create the experience, the interpretation of the experience. We create miscreation of keys. It's just an idea. And feel like it was such a beautiful metaphor, and to join, and what a beautiful symbol of joining, because she joins immediately. Like Christy does not wait. She's like, it's like a beeline for the symbol of going to Jesus. Because like for here, I would have I'm not getting help from anybody. I'm going to figure out these keys. That's how the play was here. I'm going to do it myself. But she'll like beeline it for, let's just look, and see what's true. And that's just that willingness to look and then go to the one. And then what did Jesus say to you?
I thought there were so many keys, but there was only one key.
Yes. Oh, that's gorgeous. She said, I thought there were so many different keys, but there's only one key. And guess who has it? The light has the key to get us through anything in form, and just to hone right in on which key to open the lock. So we pretended, even though we're pretending like, oh my gosh, I'm lost in consciousness, lost in this, I'm unconscious in consciousness. And to go to the one who knows, it was like that metal detector, to look down in this box and go, which one do I need now, Jesus? Which one of these keys on this chain is going to help unlock me from the idea that I have of who I am? All those things buried. And not only that, he's going to show, okay, he's going to say, now see, go here. And this one's going to next. Then he's going to go this one next. Now, out of all that, he's going to show exactly what needs to see. Otherwise, we're like in these keys going, I know which key's going to get me out of here. But he's offering, okay, let me give you the specificity, right? Instead of all the holes on the beach, all of this conglomeration, he's going to show, no, you just need this key right now and this one. And that's what we're asking him by going to desire. See, so we don't get all in the kerfuffle of fear and all this kind of stuff that's going on, this asteroid belt, right? The asteroid belt of different keys. I'll never get out of here. I feel locked in, the desire to feel locked in, and I can't get out. That is hilarious. Until he's so clear. It was like this whole thing. It was like a flower blooming in there. He's given us the one key. The one key is to look at desire with him and let him lead us. Like, I got to look at this and then this and then this. And he sends us the keys in our brother are going to show up, the ones that to look with, to unlock the idea of a personal identity that seems so solid and so impossible through our desire to make it impossible, to feel impossible. Ask Jesus, Jesus, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, is there any desire to make it seem hard or impossible to let go of personal identity? Love you too, Betsy. What a beautiful analogy. He's really giving them out too, isn't he? It's so helpful. That and the metal detector one too. It's like, wow, he's just really honing in. What a gift that was. What a gift, Christine, to come in and go, wow, let's look at this. Look at this desire to be locked in somewhere, trapped. And to see where the one place is we can go. That's just like joy. And then Renee comes in today and says, I'm starting to notice what you're talking about, how even when you ask, you get a little jolt to happiness because we're pointing back to ourselves. First the ego's screaming and yell. You got to ignore all that. I know which key opens that door. I know which one's going to, follow me. I know. It's like, oh my God. It's funny. Oh my gosh. And when it starts getting so simple and joining with the brother and just wash it out. It's just like, you just see how quickly it goes, like, the beings are mentioning here, how it just melts. Janet, it just melts when I admit it. Just don't, it's the not looking. So here we come again together. This is the glory of the Lord. That's a big heavy box of keys there. And I told him to. Hey, let me tell you, how about this for expression and consciousness? So I went to buy the property and I needed to see. It was probably my own doubt thoughts arising about not buying the property. So the prior owner is mad. So she took off every label off of every key. Oh. I'm just going, Jesus, I'm still buying this property. Yes. Okay. Let's just make levels. And I got two beautiful beings that came and just helped label everything. We just sat there. Jesus, it's going to look how it's going to look. So unless we're willing to constantly go to Jesus for the way out and just say no to that interpretive function, that something's wrong, something's not, is this the prompt to follow now? Hear the yes and go. Hear the yes and go. Is this true, Jesus? Is this right, Jesus? Which way, which key, which, do I turn the key this way or to the left or the right? That kind of precision, I'm hearing him, yes. He's offering that level of precision because we need that kind of instruction. That's what he's saying. Yes, you do. That's what he said. Okay. Okay, but it's fast. And then we don't just dink around, and we don't dink around in, he's just telling me earlier, I can feel it, where he's saying that fear is specialness, wanting to have specialness. I'm special because I'm having a fearful awakening. No, I'm having a really horrific awakening. It's all special. I'm not, look, I danced around with that devil for a while. But you see, you're innocent, but you got to see through it. Like Muji says, you can't see what you're dancing in until you transcend. And that's why we need him to tell us, when we're dancing with the devil, and also, when we're dancing with the devil, when we're holding on to something, and when it's a release, because then the interpretive function in consciousness comes along and says, oh, this is bad. This is real. I'm dying. You know, who's dying? See, it's going to come. And that's why you got to join with your mighties so that, and especially when he's going to send you symbols that seem really clear. And then you listen to them. Don't listen to that ego going, I'm dying. It's just like, you're fine. You're just release. It's just release. It's a release. And it was another beautiful thing. Like Renee looking at that desire with Jesus. She says, I was just sitting with Jesus and look at the desires. Which one? Desire make it desire for sacrifice.
Discomfort
for
looking.
Discomfort in looking. Thank you, sister. To go deep with Jesus on that desire to make difficult, for an experience where difficulty in looking and difficulty in releasing the energy. To clear those denials, those desires to make it difficult to look. Now, we started talking about communication, and it feels really good to be with the light, that infinite love. We're so practiced at being out of that. It's like Muji says, it's a reacclimation to formless. Because we see the light's formless. It's like a reflex to say no, like a 6-year-old, 2-year-old. Just it's automatic. There's no rationale for it. There's just one word, no. 2-year-old. You know how irritating that is when you have a 2-year-old and they're running around? Yet Jesus is so patient. He's really patient. Several beings have mentioned that. He's so patient, and we know this. He's just waiting. When consciousness quits burning itself out, and then, okay, which key did you want me to use? Maybe I'll try this one this time. Try the key you're given. So communication is welcoming communication. Space for grace. So just dropping every idea, every thought, every emotion, every memory. And see what's here. We're so used to the words being the communication. We're acclimating to it. Doesn't know what words are. The I equals hell is words, believed. It's not like you may not hear thoughts, or thoughts may, but there's not, they become lighter and lighter. There's no, we're not stapled to a plethora of thought. The desire is the engine. We can ask the light that, is desire the engine for thought, desire for other. So let's just ask Jesus, is there a desire not to communicate with myself, infinite self? We can hear, okay, Jesus, what is the way through this? He says, admit it. Let me show you how much you want that, not to be in communication with yourself, the self. And you'll always know that true is true, because whenever you deny me, you're refusing communication with yourself. I am the voice of yourself, the voice of expression of divinity, expression of totality. You believe to communicate is to make yourself alone, and that communicating, you will be abandoned. That's that idea, oh, if I say something, they'll leave me. Yet see that the light doesn't leave. Where's the light going? Is the light waiting for us to tell it some special words to come or go? We can just check. Does the light look for certain words for the light to be here, or certain other words not to be here? It doesn't, light has no words, or nothing, nada. So there's such a strong identification that words are communication, that something's going to come out, do, and it's going to go over there, and that the seemingly other being's going to understand it, and then they're going to say words that come this way, and then it's going to be understood. And if it's not understood, then we're not communicating. And I talked about that, like that was hilarious, going into corporations and teaching communication, clear communication, with the idea that if someone said something a different way, it could be better understood. That's a good thing to look at. That's like death. I talked about that, giving talks, like just spending hours trying to get a 15-minute talk. That's right. That's death. Worrying about what are, other seemingly, because it's other. So we can't even just be, because we're, okay, which thoughts are the right thoughts? And maybe these thoughts, and you argue thoughts, arguing with thoughts, is this the right thoughts? How, and Jesus can save all that. Just say, Jesus, what do I say? And say those thoughts. But no, we're going to argue because we're afraid Jesus is going to give us the wrong thoughts. And he knows that. So, it's trust. It's just really trust. It was like that time I was sitting in that, I think I told about that story in coaching, where somebody came in and this big guy comes in, and I asked him, well, what do you want to work on today? He says, I want to be a good man. And I said, that's really great. You want to be a good man. They're adorable. I mean, so adorable. Just fell in love. If you could imagine, those big burly guys come in there. And I said, well, what do you think, what's preventing you from that? And he says, well, and then he starts telling the story about how he had to throw somebody down a set of stairs because they were doing something with his sister, and he needed to protect his sister. So I said, and I knew he liked God, and I heard to say to him, well, what does God think about that? I used to coach and talk about everything. And this was like how Jesus was teaching me to ask God. See, I thought he was asking God. He's teaching me how to ask God. See, it's sneaky like that, I thought there was another. But listen, so I said, well, what What does God think about that? It was like less than 30 seconds, he gets a tear in his eye. And I'm thinking, and I've said this before, I'm thinking, oh my God, what if God tells him the wrong thing? I'm like bated breath waiting for God. What if God tells him the wrong thing? And he gets a big tear in his eye. This guy was a huge mountain, it was quite, he filled the doorway when he came in, and all of a sudden he's like soft, and he goes, if I'm in here and I'm doing those kind of things, I can't protect anyone. I was like, that was for me. To see the profundity, and it was starting the training, like for Jesus to say, and this would happen so many times in those coaching sessions in prison. I can't tell, they'd start talking God, they'd put something in the light. What a reflection. And they just the most profound, scripture come out. It was light training me right there. To see that you can't communicate in words, and you certainly can't communicate better than God can communicate. That's what he was communicating to me. Stay out of the way, and God's going to speak. Will speak to you through your brother. That's what he was training me, to see that God speaks to me through my brother. It's beautiful. And still is. It's just a joy. It's like so much joy hearing my brother speak Jesus. Thus you desire an experience where communication makes you feel alone and abandoned. So let's ask, there's any desire through communication to feel abandoned? So I'm asking them about it for clarity. This around words. This is, around the idea of communication this way. So you can feel abandoned. You just create the scenarios and you're trying to communicate. You ever feel frustrated? I feel so frustrated communicating with that band. They don't listen. Feel left. To be bereft of the light. When the light's here, see, the light's not looking for words to be shining. It's not looking for proof in words that the light's here. It's just here. This is the desire to be out of communication with yourself. See, because something feels missing. So many relationships, self-generated, seeming relationships, and that horizontal relationship, we can ask the light. If we're trying to communicate horizontally, are we going to feel abandoned? I heard a yes one. A divine expression just expresses, it just comes out. Happiness expresses as happiness. And whether it's understood or clear or agreed with, unimpacted, the light test. It doesn't mean that there isn't still kind of an understanding thing going on. There's just no dependency on some kind of horizontal movement thought arising over there to impact the happiness over here, or some voice coming out and then somebody see the other that's going to be happy because of, if I can just frame it right. That was so big, because you're doing those presentations with Tony Robbins and you're supposedly on stage, and boy, if you don't get those words right, I could remember playing the game. I was in terror before I go. Am I going to get that right? Am I going to say the right thing? Am I going to remember everything that I practiced? Everybody. Oh my God, we're funny. Then not to worry, it just expresses divinity, express Jesus's words. That's relaxing. Okay. This is the desire. Okay. This is desired experience of attempting to communicate in this world horizontally and feeling continually misinterpreted and misunderstood. Boy, that played. So nice, not just like feeling misinterpreted, misunderstood, feeling angry about it. So it like vacillates between really pissed off because you're not understood and then feeling bereft because you can't connect. I can't connect with you. I never actually say it. I can't, because the I can't connect. What's joined cannot connect. It's already connected. Oh, it's funny. Love does not know horizontal communication, only expression of all that is. That itch to be understood. Jesus, is there any desire to have an itch to be understood? If it is, I want to look at it. Sure, please. Or have someone understand something, or how many times we've rewritten letters just to get them right. The amazing things too about this book, it just like poured out. I'm seeing that's what divine expression is. It just like Rita was asking me about that day. How did that book happen? Well, I just started typing. That's it. Typing and all this. Oh, this is interesting. I just showed it to Mighty Companion. What do you think of this? And I don't know if I would have given it another thought if someone hadn't cut my Mighties. See how we need the Mighties came up and say, where's that next chapter? Oh, I guess I'm writing another chapter. And then go type and another chapter comes out. You know, very little editing at all, other than to ask Jesus, like, okay, Jesus, you want a period there? Well, do I add to this? Does it change anything? You know, we're literally the conversation. Is this chapter done? And say, yep, okay, I'd send it out, give it away, here, post it. Is that done? That's how divine expression is, though. He was teaching, it's just there's no worry about what are people going to think. There was a moment, okay, I'm in a minute on chapter 9 when that first sentence came out. Sex is only for procreation. That was wait a minute, I've heard this before. And then he writes that whole chapter, and I was obvious it was for me. I needed to look at it, and I knew it was, then I just sat with him and asked him every sentence and just, okay, show it to me. Okay, is this function? All right, I accept it. Have a whole chapter on sexuality in there. Oh, so funny. You believe that to be with the body is companionship. I'm checking in. I'll see if there's any energy around that anymore. It's such a different thing now because it's just celebration because it's for no reason. That's the play he's offering. It's like no reason to celebrate. Not, we can relate to that. Like a body would leave the room, or it sounds really like you don't care. It's not like you're not. Like you'd have these experiences where, you'd be leaving your family and you would cry, or be really sad, or there would be, something felt missing. You leave for college, however that plays out in consciousness, right? And then body's coming and going. That he's just offering you so full, you're just full of joy. And then whatever's in front of you, you're just joyful. There's no because in it. There's no because there's a body here or not. That just sounds so. There's just love. A body is companionship. And the whole purpose is we can see when we're coming together here, the purpose is so different. That whole idea that it'd be possible to like someone because we matched, it was like the checklist. And I'm telling you, if any guys out there at that time, they could not pass that checklist. It was long. That was a long checklist. Career, money, you know. I remember last guy I dated, I just about fell over when I found out he bought his car from his parents. I'm telling you, there's some serious rules going. Oh my gosh, he was so good for me. You- oh my gosh. You believe that to be with the body is companionship. It was almost desperation, actually, when I think about it. There's like a period, oh, I'm going to be desperate if I don't have a boyfriend, and then you get a relationship with another body, then you want that relationship to be the way you want it.
Oh,
It doesn't qualify either. They don't, there are no qualifications. You can see all the limits on love. No spaciousness for love in there. Thus, you desire an experience of being with another body is companionship, and thus would hold your brother and yourself as an image of a body. Held by guilt, the image that death is possible for your brother and God and for yourself. Oh, let's look at this because this goes with the body, that idea. Being in a room full of bodies and still feeling alone. See how it plays both ends. You go to a party or something. I can remember going to parties and really feeling uncomfortable. So you're room full of people. So not only does it have to be in a room with the body, it has to be the right body. Then the bodies have a certain role for each body, whether I'm going to like it or not. See, thus you desire an experience of being with another body as an companionship. And then we create rules for those bodies. Those bodies need to come home right after work. Better be home for dinner. We want those bodies to follow those rules. I felt alone. You weren't here. You see all the rules that deny happiness? You hold your brother and yourself. See how that's holding a body, a condition on love. You didn't meet my conditions out there, held by guilt, the image that death is possible for your brother, God, and for yourself. Conditional love, condition based on a body. Held by guilt, the image that death is possible for your brother and God and for yourself. That's holding our brother in death, really. Saying you have to do something to make me happy. See, conditional. Jesus is that any conditionality around bodies moving around happiness. I'm willing to see it. Show me. You believe loneliness is solved by guilt. Wow. Thus, you desire an experience of loneliness and attempting to solve it through guilt. Let's ask the light about that. That's a good one to be with them. Jesus, is there any desire to experience loneliness and trying to solve it through guilt? That salvation is in guilt. It's the desire to experience loneliness. And if we experience loneliness, then we'll experience guilt. Okay. Is there anything else we need to see? He said, just see that desire for loneliness, look at it really directly. To deny that, does light know what loneliness is even? You can see how the ego never is happy Room full of people, no one in the room. Get them all out of here. I don't want to see any of them. Get them out.
Yeah.
Well, and then a room full of people still not happy. Nobody wants to come visit me. That is just like that whole play in consciousness. There's no happiness in all of that, is there? You believe that there's safety in guilt and danger in communication. Now he's talking about true communication. You believe there is safety in guilt. Jesus, is there any belief in safety and guilt? He's saying this is the same as the belief that guilt is salvation. Ooh, feel that. Jesus, and I desire to experience guilt as salvation. Okay, I'm willing to look at it. Is there any desire to experience safety in guilt? Trying to keep ourselves safe from infinite light. And danger in communication. Open communication. And thus your creator. Danger in communication with your brother and yourself. It's really communicating with yourself is divine expression, because this is the self. All this is the self. To be in constant communion with source, infinite light, communing, infinite happiness. Only communion with your creator, yourself, is real. Let's ask. Is only communion with our creator, ourself, is real? And hear the light. Communion, holy communion. Do this in memory of me. Commune with yourself. Do this in memory of me. Extend the light. I think I told that story on that little light video when he first placed the light in my hands in that mystical vision, and he puts it in, and he said, he puts the light in my hands, and then he said, do this in memory of me. And I didn't, for whatever choice and consciousness, not know what that light was, what he was talking about. And it wasn't till later. So he gives us these signs and symbols, and sometimes it takes time for whatever reason for it to sink in. And I realized this in memory of me means extend the light as I have extended it to you. Extension, he was teaching me about extension. To extend this light. And to come with open hands to your brother. It's just a beautiful symbol, that joining light symbol. It still is. It's really helpful. It's just a constant reminder to focus on light and focus on the shared light between myself and my brother. That light shared. No one has it. Everyone is it. You believe it's possible to be host to the ego or hostage to God. I'll just do this last one. So much love in this one. In all of these, when we see through it, it's just a relief to see that it ain't so. Jesus, is there a desire to experience being host to the ego? Okay. Willing to look directly at that experience, desire to be host to ego, to host to a dream, host a dream. Or held hostage by God, feeling trapped, like that word could be used, or hostage to God. Like, can you see how that's like a lose-lose on either side? This is the choice you think you have and the decision you believe that you must make. That's not a happy decision at all. Thus you desire to experience a choice between host to the ego or hostage to God, both of which are death. For host to the ego, it's death, and hostage to God, it's death, death and death. It's the ego makes it, we've made it so it seems like there's no alternative. That's that there's no alternative between the hell of the ego and the hell of God. See, it's all hell. Thus, you desire and experience a choice between host to the ego or hostage to God. Can you not see that this is impossible, that in this experience you will always feel divided from yourself? You can only be host to God, yet you desire to have an experience of being host and hostage to the ego. Jesus, show any more energy around. Want to host the beast. Host the beast. It's much easier. I love this. He's bringing to mind this Indian story, a Native American story. A fawn, a little deer called Fawn. And there was this monster up at the top of the hill, this hill, like a mountain. And there's something that the village really needed at the top of the mountain, but no one could get past this monster, huge monster. And it was really horrible and it stank and it was, just really horrific. And Fawn decided to go up the hill anyway. I think those Native American stories are really good and Fawn, of course, gets up the hill, almost all the way up the hill. And of course, this big, hairy, nasty, smelly monster jumps out at Fawn. And where everyone else came running and streaming down the mountain, Fawn just looked at that monster with all the love, just totally looked upon it with love. And the monster melted. The power of the light within, to look with the power of love on everything and see that the monster isn't real. And it has no dominion over infinite light, infinite love. None of this is bad dream. You can only be host to God, yet you desire to have an experience of being host and hostage to the ego, to hold yourself hostage to the idea you have miscreated yourself, of yourself. Jesus, is there any desire below my level of awareness to hold myself hostage to the idea of who I think I am? And I'm willing to see that directly, the choice to hold myself hostage. And I thank Jesus for bringing my brother as the key. He's the key. See that he's given the brother to be the key in this moment that unlocks the idea I have of myself. That's the gift he's given us in having us join with each other. That's why the ego exists. Resist that joining. Ooh, smoky. Jump in. Jump into yourself. When you join with the brother, you're denying separation. Denying that separation is true. It's a true use of denial. Thank you, Jesus. So much joy in it too. It's so much fun. He's really teaching us that it can be really, really fun, light and playful. You get to the point where you're just laughing your head off because you just see through the whole thing. The world will end in happy laughter. Let's go. Go for Jesus. Amen. Love you. Oh, wait. There you go. Here, the brother. There they go. Sitting on the Love from San Juan Kosala.